The setting couldn't be any better. I'm here for the Longines Hong Kong International Race Day. It is the 11th of December, and this is where champions will be made at what has been an extremely long, hard, and grueling 2016.
The 2016 racing year has been one that has been punctuated by champions such as Found, Arrogate and California Chrome, to name just a few. And as a curtain closer, there's never a better stage than the Longines Hong Kong races at Sha Tin. With millions of dollars of purse money, record crowd and champions from all over the world coming across to dominant force in horse racing, it promised to be an event to surpass many others.
You finish first in this Jockey Challenge, and it's basically the equivalent of winning a Group 1 US $1 million race anywhere else in the world. That's how much prize money is on the line, simply for being the biggest points earner over the course of the 4 races. So I think that puts it in perspective. 12 guys with a chance to win the equivalent of a big, really big Group 1 haul. I think that's pretty substantial, and there is nothing else quite like it in the world. Frankly, for that matter, third place isn't all that bad either. But there's a lot more on the line than just show up and run a couple races, get a trophy and go home. So I think in that sense it is the world's most prestigious and certainly the most lucrative jockey championship. And it's nice to bring, you know, some of the world's best together on a surface and on a track that is probably amongst the world's most unique. There's no question that when you watch Happy Valley, when you see the races pan out here, it's different than almost anywhere else in the world. So it just makes it a really unique setting, a really fun night. We'll have 20,000 people or so here, and millions more probably watching in some capacity. So really excited for the night. Well, we run the world's richest races at 1,200, 1,600, and 2,000 meters on grass. That's the Hong Kong Sprint Mile and Cup. And some fantastic fields, 27 overseas runners, of which I believe it's 14 of them are Group 1 winners, international Group 1 winners, 27 horses from Hong Kong. So you have a group of 54 horses that will go toe-to-toe in some of the most competitive racing. And it's one of the places where you get an intersection of global form lines that really is very difficult to come by. And I think that's one of the things that makes international racing so exciting, that when you have horses from Australia, like the sprint in particular will be very interesting. You have 2 horses from Australia with group run form in the last 2 months facing off against Hong Kong's established and up-and-coming sprinters, against some of Europe's best. You have the second in the British Champion Stakes in Grau. You have Signs of Blessing, a Group 1 winner earlier in the summer. It just presents this cultural diversity that racing thrives on and is very difficult to get in other places. Every now and then you get a big Australian like Black Caviar go to Ascot. That's exciting. Every now and then you get a Hong Kong sprinter go to Ascot. But in a race like the Hong Kong Sprint this year, you get really a little bit of the best of the world. And frankly, I even left out my home team, the Americans, who bring pure sensation. It's very difficult to get Group 1 form in sprints in America. There's only one of them. And Pure Sensation ran 3rd in it this year, and he's much more a 1,200 meter horse than he is a 1,300 meter horse. So I'll be excited to see how one representing my home nation does. And it'll be very exciting.
The gala dinner on the Friday night was resplendent. The who's who of horse racing was present, and not surprisingly, the Hong Kong Jockey Club surpassed all expectations. It was a night that attracted connections from all the countries represented, including Singapore, Japan, Ireland, and of course, the hosts. For Longines as the sponsor, this has fast become an evening that recognizes talent with the Jockey of the Year award that is scored across 100 Group 1 races through the year.
Here now to celebrate these achievements, I would now like to ask Mr. Juan Carlos Capelli, Vice President and Head of International Marketing of Longines.
On behalf of the Longines management, it is a real pleasure for me to be here tonight for the gala dinner of the Hong Kong International Races, which celebrates the great sport of horse racing in all its forms. The Hong Kong Jockey Club always reach impressive standards year after year.
For the second time in 2 years, the honour went to Ryan Moore, considered by many to be amongst the all-time greats.
Yeah, look, as I said, I'm very lucky to ride a lot of good horses, and it's about those horses really. And I'm in a very privileged position, and we're very thankful for that.
2016 was extremely special for Ryan.
The Arc was obviously very important, and the King George at Ascot, and I'm from Brighton in England, so winning the Sussex Stakes was a good day.
Moore's success is attributed to many characteristics, including hard work and determination. And while many will agree that he is the best in the world, all will concur that he is the most humble.
Look, I'm lucky. I get to ride at the highest levels, so I've always plenty to look forward to. And racing is a very tough sport, and to get yourself motivated when you're not riding the horses aren't so good, it's tough. And obviously keeping your weight in check and keeping yourself in good shape, and everything else that goes with the sport, it's hard for a lot of people.
All roads led to Sha Tin on the 11th of December, and even with the traffic, it did not stop a record crowd from making their way across for the 4 Group 1 championship races. The first international Group 1 of the day was the Longines Hong Kong Vase, over a mile and a half, and all eyes were on the Aidan O'Brien-trained Highland Reel, who was back from 2015 to defend his title. With a second in the Prix de l'Arc du Triomphe and a victory in the Breeders' Cup Turf thereafter, saw him installed as the strong favourite to repeat. Ryan Moore would take the ride, and separately the competition between him, Zach Burton and Joe Moreira was yet another conversation that was gripping everyone's attention. They had equally strong hands for the afternoon.
Well, I think he's got a pretty decent chance. Obviously, he won the mile trial. The track that day was a little bit shifty on top, and he doesn't really like that. So the wind didn't look as impressive as what he can produce, but back on a firmer surface with the good weather that we've had this week, hopefully the track's rock hard. And if that's the case, I think he can improve a little bit more. And if he does that, he'll be in the finish.
That's a very tricky question because I've got heaps of horses with chance. I really think that Designs of Rome is going to surprise everyone else, because the feeling that he gave me the other day on the track work is that he's ready, he's feeling good on himself, and we know that he's good enough to be winning this race as he won this race before. So I rate him as one of the best judges. He's right there with the best ones. It's so well organized. Best horse worldwide come over here to compete against themselves, and being part of it is a pleasure. Obviously, we don't want to just be part. We want to be competitive, and we are getting prepared. We're getting ready, and I think things can go very good on our way. The year has been going very well. Numbers has been going on in my favors, and yeah, I'm very happy with how things is going. Looking further down, I think we can still improve. We are going to work harder to see if we can get the numbers even higher, and understanding that competition gets stronger and change basically every day. So hopefully we can keep on going well as we are, because I'm very happy at the end of the day. I would come back to 2016. I would like to win the Hong Kong Vase, a race that I haven't won yet, and I think I've got a chance.
Good luck, Joe.
Yes, most definitely. We're very pleased to be here, and grateful for the invitation from the Hong Kong Jockey Club and Longines. It's a great race day to be part of. So, like I said, he's travelled really well, and he had his final gallop out here this morning, and we're really happy the way he's moving and the way he's come through his work, and he's really blossomed with his trip. You've actually really see his character come out, and him taking all of the scenes in, and for me, he's really feeling good in himself. I feel he's ready. Like we were discussing earlier, he's had a full years of racing, especially building up to the Gold Cup. But like I said, he's at Singapore. There's not much travelling there, so for him only being able to travel here was nothing much at all. He's maintained his weight, and I mean, looking at the race, they're expecting it to be a high-speed race. We haven't been lucky with the barrier draw at all, but you know, with the pace being hard, hopefully they straggle out a bit and we're going to be able to get in not too far off them. And like I said, for me, I think he'll really stay out the distance. And I mean, he's proven his ability in the Singapore Airlines International when he ran up third, so he's got the international credentials. And like I feel, he's really strong and handled himself well.
Longines, Hong Kong Bars 2016. The gates are open and they're off and racing. Highland Reel jumped away perfectly. Nearer the inside, Eastern Express away fast, along with Anticipation. Highland Reel travelling forward in the middle, along with also Smart Layer. Keshwar's a touch wide, and he's going to ease back in behind the speed. Helene Happy Star, followed by Silver Wave holding a spot on the fence. It's quite crowded there. Flame Hero and Big Orange in the middle as they come past the judge with a circuit to travel, and Ryan Moore is pushing on, and he has the favourite in front, a lap out. Highland Reel shows the way as they run past the Longines timepiece. Eastern Express second. Highland Reel will corner in front in the vase as they swing for home, and Ryan Moore turns up the heat now, and Highland Reel dashed away. Eastern Express trying to stick on. Helene Happy Star, Satono Crown coming out of the pack. Further back to 1 Foot in Heaven. Then came Flame Hero. Highland Reel in full flight. There's only one danger. It's the Japanese charger, Satono Crown. He's got 3 to make up. Highland Reel kept going. Satono Crown is lifting. Satono Crown is cutting down Highland Reel, and he'll take the vase. Japan conquer. Satono Crown from Highland Reel. They're 8 lengths in front of the rest. Maybe 1 Foot in Heaven third.
Morera was at his very best as he stole the race from Ryan Moore on the absolute last stride. The Connections walked away with the 9 million plus Hong Kong dollars, even as the fans made their way to the parade ring for the sprint.
Dr. Christopher Cheng is now presenting the Longines Hong Kong vase and a bronze horse statuette to our winning owner, Hajime Satomi of Satono Crown. Just presented the bronze horse statuette to the winning trainer, Noriyuki Hori, and is presenting to our winning jockey, Joao Moreira.
The sprint over 6 furlongs attracted a final field of 13 into the parade ring. Barrier position would likely play a critical role here, and in draw 1 was the Tony Cruz saddled Pinophobia, who had former British champion jockey Sylvester de Souza in the saddle.
You know, I got a couple of very exciting riders, so you know, the nice horses, but at the same time they are very competitive races. But I wouldn't tipping off the box my rides, you know, and I think they've got a nice book and rides, and with a bit of a look, and you know, I could be in place with them, and you know, and you never know what happened, but you know, and the rides, and we're going to compete in very high standard races.
Right beside him in Gate 2 was the 2014 winner Aero Velocity with Zach Burton in the saddle, and Morera was in draw 7 on Amazing Kids, while Ryan Moore drew the outer Gate 13 atop Big Arthur. It wasn't long before the horses left the parade ring and made their way to the start.
For the Longines Hong Kong sprint, gates are open, they're off. Penophobia and Aero Velocity both bounce quickly into the bridle, and Super Jockey charges up to join them in third. Also travelling forward, Not Listening to Me, Takedown not far away. Rebel Day in the middle, Strathmore's hunting through nearer the rail. Lucky Bubbles, Amazing Kids have got plenty of work to do. They corner in, and Penophobia half a length on Super Jockey. Aero Velocity, Rebel Dane, Strathmore, Amazing Kids hunts the rail. Wider out is Big Arthur with Lucky Bubbles. Penophobia still has it. Super Jockey, Aero Velocity, the 8-year-old rolls up now to take the lead. Aero Velocity from Penophobia. Lucky Bubbles on the scene late. Aero Velocity in front. Lucky Bubbles trying to reach him. Aero Velocity, what a grand 8-year-old he is. He takes his second sprint. Aero Velocity from Lucky Bubbles. Penophobia probably third ahead of Amazing Kids and Takedown.
Aero Velocity at the age of 8 turned back the clock, and the winning Connections walked away with a winner's purse of just over 10.5 million Hong Kong dollars.
Congratulations to our winning horse, Aero Velocity from Hong Kong, winning the Longines Hong Kong Sprint. Let's invite the club's Deputy Chairman, Mr. Anthony Chow, to present the Longines Hong Kong Sprint Trophy and a horse statuette to our winning owner, Daniel Young Ai of Aero Velocity. Mr. Anthony Chow to present the bronze horse statuette to our winning trainer, Paul O'Sullivan. And of course, our winning jockey, Zach Burton.
At Sha Tin, for the Longines Hong Kong International Races on the 11th of December, a battle royale was developing between three of the world's top jockeys, Ryan Moore, Zach Burton and Joe Moreira. With Moreira winning the first and Burton the second, it was time for the battlefield to shift to the Longines Hong Kong Mile. Number 1, Abel Friend, had won this in 2014 and had carried his dominance over this trip to the first part of 2015 too. He had attempted an unsuccessful overseas raid at Royal Ascot in the Queen Anne Stakes and really had never been the same since. Fighting niggles, he had run third behind Maurice in this race last year after a late injury nearly kept him out. With Moreira on his back, his connections were as hopeful as they were optimistic. Zach Burton was back in the saddle on one of Tony Cruise's best, Beauty Only, while Ryan Moore was a neorealism from Japan. While many at Sha Tin were hoping for Moreira and Abel Friend to win it for nostalgia, Ryan Moore was looking to draw level. Zach Burton, however, had other ideas.
For the Longines Hong Kong Mile, Abel Friend favourite. Gates are back and they're off and racing. And away like lightning was Beauty Flame. Contentment jumped quickly, as did Sun Jewelry, and Neo-Realism is charging forward. Romantic Touch is handy and Logo Type is punching through nearer the inside, picking up speed. 2.5 lengths further back to Helene Paragon, who's in the middle of the field with Joyful Trinity, Packing Pins and Cougar Mountain in front of him. Abel Friend tacks onto his back, and Satono Aladdin still last of all. They're approaching the bend, 450 metres to go, and it's Beauty Flame narrowly from Neo-Realism, Logo Type, Contentment, Packing Pin, Sun Jewelry. Coming to the outside is Beauty Only along with Abel Friend. Moreira lights the fuse. It's Beauty Flame from Neo-Realism, Contentment, Logo Type trying to get to them. Beauty Only wider out with Abel Friend. Beauty Only sweeping up to hit the lead. Abel Friend chasing. Still there, Joyful Trinity. Helene Paragon with a late burst. Beauty Only just in front. Joyful Trinity, Helene Paragon. It's Beauty Only's mile. Beauty Only from Helene Paragon. Maybe Joyful Trinity.
Zach Burton was at his very best to drive Beauty Only home, giving the winning connections a bit over 13 million Hong Kong dollars. It was finally time for the biggest one, the Longines Hong Kong Cup over 2,000 metres, and all eyes were on Maurice in the parade ring. With Ryan Moore in the saddle, the Japanese champion who won the mile last year was attempting to record a remarkable victory with a step up of 2 furlongs. Designs on Rome and Moreira were partnered to recapture some of the best form that the son of Holy Roman Emperor had demonstrated in the past, while Zach Burton took the ride on Secret Weapon, the winner of the Longines Jockey Club Cup 3 weeks earlier. The field also included last year's runaway winner, Shin Hikari, who was expected to adopt similar tactics this year as well.
And the gates to open, the Longines Hong Kong Cup, they're off, and Designs on Rome and Morris were both slow out of the gates. Shin Hikari came out running. Horse of Fortune quickly strides up to match him. Blazing Speed in a nice posse early, along with Lovely Day and Helene Superstars 3 deep as they work out of the stretch, followed then by Stefanos, and then came Gun Pit from Secret Weapon, who settles on the rail. Queen's Ring is 3 deep as they work out of the stretch. 4.5 lengths in front from Helene Superstar. Third place Stefanos from Lovely Day as the leader got further in front. Then Horse of Fortune, Blazing Speed, Secret Weapon. Morris is 20 lengths off the leader with Gun Pit, Queen's Ring, Designs on Roman, Elliptique. But Shin Hikari approaching the turn is like a runaway train. He's 7 lengths in front. Helene Superstar. Stefanos now starts to bridge the gap with Lovely Day. Morris is on the inside, starting to rev up. Blazing Speed and Horse of Fortune. Shin Hikari keeps finding 4 lengths in front. Stefanos. Morris is coming. Moras, the champion, for one final effort. Morris quickly races up to Shin Hikari. Lovely Day and Blazing Speed. Morris careering away with 100 to go. He'll sign off as one of Japan's greatest. And Morris, what a champion, wins the cup from Secret Weapon. Photo third, Lovely Day, or Stefanos. Then Blazing Speed, Horse of Fortune, Elliptique.
Maurice stormed home to a delighted crowd, happy to see a champion in full resplendence. It gave Ryan Moore the final Group 1 race, even though Zach Burton did win the championship battle. The son of screen hero earned his connections a bit over 14 million Hong Kong dollars. The Panchshil Indian 2000 Guineas had a big field, with a few having the classic experience and a couple who'd won group races too. However, Serjeant at Arms had the best credentials and was installed the hot favourite. Serjeant had a reputation and was universally acclaimed as the best miler in the country on sheer performance. He stood up to that belief and dished out a clinical performance to stamp an authoritative win, beating his opponents even as they turned for home. He ran up with the pace in second behind House of Commons, with the rest of the field fairly closely huddled. Serjeant at Arms, trained by Sulaiman Ataulahi, was confidently ridden by Sandesh as he made a bold dash to the front at the turn and sailed into the lead with a powerful surge. He flew past the winning post a touch short of 4 lengths, clocking a decent 1 minute 36.49 seconds without extending himself.
After that, there is St. Andrews, but Serjeant at Arms, with a furlong and a half to go, is still being ridden out hands and heels. What a smashing appearance this is by Serjeant at Arms. At the Bombay Racecourse is about 5 lengths ahead of Lucas, Supreme General, St. Andrews. They're all in futile chase, but Serjeant at Arms winning this one very impressively from Lucas. After that is St. Andrews, Supreme General.
Oh, well, it was quite in a sense that it made me a bit nervous because the field just strung out at the first bend, and he found himself second. That was not the instructions, and that's not the way we wanted him to run. We wanted him really to sit at the back, 5th, 6th, but he was second, which made me a bit nervous. But all the same, he's a very good horse, and at a mile, very few horses could beat him. So I think he did his best. This was his target race, and he's won it, so that's beautiful.
The race didn't go as per plan. Luckily, my partner Khushru kept a pacemaker in the race. That at least helped our horse get to the 600-meter mark, but when he folded up and we were in front, I think maybe a couple of furlongs too soon. Serjeant I've never had a horse with such blinding speed. To take a horse like Supreme General into the straight and get him beat without coming off the bridle. Take some horse. This was his big day. He's a champion miler, and this was his Indian Classic to win. So I'm glad he did it and did it in good style.
And what a fitting way for this day to end. Maurice, a true champion, well deserved. Thank you for joining me. Till I see you on the next episode, goodbye, and as always, may the horse be with you.